In this section, 4.60, we have personal dual gender. The concept duality or dual is not very prominent and clear in Arabic. Since we in Arabic, but it is not clear in English. The reverse, the opposite means. In English, we have mostly the words one item represent the two genders. For example, if we were to have the word, let's say, teacher, teacher could be what? Could be male or what? Or could be female. Means could be man or what? Or could be woman. So if we say teacher, in Arabic we have two. Teacher for say مدرس and مدرسة or معلم or معلمة. But in English we have just one word teacher or doctor or let's say professor or whatever. We have just one item. In English we have two that represented both. Mostly in English like this. But in certain concepts and in order to differentiate that I mean a male teacher or a female teacher, I have to put what we call gender marker. Gender marker. Gender marker or markers. What is meant by? For example, I saw or I met a teacher, but that teacher was a girl, was a woman. So how can I express myself to tell others that what I have seen was not, say, a male, it was a female. So in this case, we have to add gender markers, means items or words, expressions that we can add before the noun to recognize whether this noun is male or female. For example, I can say she, teacher. So in this case, I mean what? I mean female, she, teacher. Or I say, of course, no need to say he, teacher, because presumably, or I means already we know that teacher, in our say, impression, that teacher refers to what? To the masculine. So we don't need to say, for example, he, teacher. Only in certain cases. So either I say, for example, she, teacher, or I can say girl, teacher. I'm going to say girl, teacher, girl, farmer, girl, worker, girl, officer, whatever. So I add what? Either she or for example, girl, or we can say woman. I say woman, teacher again. So these words, and if we have more words that refer to they distinguish between the male and female, we call them what? Gender marker. Of course, we have certain words, no need to add this. For example, if we use the word nurse, originally nurse refers to what? To the female. So no need to say female nurse. We may use, for example, he nurse, if it is possible. But we have certain words, then in order to distinguish whether the word is male or female, feminine or masculine, we have to add gender markers before the words. Say she teacher, she cleaner, she professor, she pusher, let's say, girl carpenter, woman fisherman, etc. So all these we use there to distinguish between male and female. Then in 4.61 we have what we call common gender. Common gender, we use mostly the pronoun it. We use the pronoun it if we cannot recognize whether the gender is male or female. Only in this point. If we cannot recognize, for example, the pregnant woman who has a baby in her stomach, we cannot tell whether she has he or she. In this case, we say it. So it can refer to creation like embryo, like this. Embryo. You know the meaning of embryo? Embryo means الجنين. So, for example, in such words, embryo or ghost or whatever, if we cannot recognize its gender, whether female or male, we use it for this. Even the person that we cannot recognize. For example, somebody knocking at the door and we don't or we can't see, so we say, who is it? Who is it? We don't say he or she. Why? Because we are unable to recognize his gender. So we use the common gender it to the any creature that we cannot recognize, especially like this example. For the higher animals, in fact, only higher animals. And when we see, by the way, I didn't go in series. See, I jumped from 62, then 64 for a purpose. Anyhow, if we come to 4.63, we have higher animals. Higher animals mean their level, their degree is higher. Higher, not big, but in sense that they have all the systems that working in their bodies. So in higher animals, it is possible to recognize whether it is male or what or female. For example, if we have dog, we have what? We have bitch. If we have tiger, we have tigress, etc. If we have gander, we have goose, etc. See? So if we have all these creatures, we call them higher because they are big. If we have horse, we have male. So if we have lion, we have lioness. So these we call them what? Higher animals in their range or their level according in the animal kingdom. So in this case, it is possible to recognize whether it is what? It is here we have what we call, here it is we have the masculine, and this is we have what? Feminine. So it is possible to recognize. This is for the higher animal. For the lower animal, the animals that we cannot recognize, for example, let's say if we take the word spider. If we have the word spider, so in spider we cannot tell whether this spider is he or she. But after, let's say, scientific anatomy, بعد التحليل العلمي, or like this, التشريح, so we can, for example, discover that this spider, or this, let's say, frog, or this whatever, in this case, it is possible to recognize them what? Whether it is he or she. In this case, after, and if we discover that, we can, let's say, put, for example, he frog, or we say she a frog. So after this analysis, it is possible to use, means we put the gender marker to differentiate between what? Between these two, we add these markers to differentiate as a second step later. Okay, thank you.